some clarity needs to just be given in terms of the actual naming of the names and the structure itself, because I mean I've been congratulated on my new appointment as the interim head coach, or the team manager, and there are distinct different roles. So I'm in an acting director of cricket role, which really looks after all national teams matters, and also pathways report into the future director of cricket. One of those reports is the team director of the national team. So the team director is what we used to call the head coach. It's the person that's ultimately accountable for the national team performance, the national men's team's performance. So he's the team director. One of his roles is head coach, but he also has certain roles in terms of player management, team environment, culture of the team. He's the driver and the ultimate responsible person for the team and its performance. He reports to the director of cricket, and under him will be his coaching staff, his administrative staff, and his technical staff, your medical, your doctor on tour, your physiotherapist, and your trainer. If that makes a little bit more sense in terms of how the structure works. So the director of cricket reports into the CEO, and the team director reports into the director of cricket on the national team.
So the reason why we ended up going this direction, or essentially what motivated the board, together with the senior management of Cricket South Africa, to go this route, is that we had to work as a senior management on a new strategy for the organization in terms of where do we see Cricket South Africa going in the future. As you know, we've had Project 654 that we've had to deal with, the restructuring of domestic cricket. And part of our strategy session spoke mostly about the national team as far as cricket is concerned, and what we wanted to achieve through the national team. Part of that being bringing the national team closer to the organization so that we are indeed seen as one organization, having better communication lines with the national team. And then one other thing that we identified was the style of play. So we wanted to influence or to at least adopt a certain style of play as far as the national team is concerned, which to us as management was not really clear, if I may put it that way. And then we also wanted to change the culture for various reasons, whether it be administrative, communication, brand management point of view. So we wanted to change the culture in the team. So that's not necessarily saying that the current culture that the team has been operating under, which is the Protea Fire, is being done away with. So that's the team culture, but we want to have an organizational culture which will essentially embody this Protea Fire culture as well, where the team will be expected to act and behave in a certain manner when representing Cricket South Africa. So that was part of the reasons why we wanted to go this route, and for us to then be able to essentially adopt the strategy, accountability was the key factor that we spoke about. And at that, we spoke about the clear line of sight. So in saying that, we then obviously took most of the responsibilities that lie on or used to lie with the board. And those responsibilities were now passed on to the CEO, which is myself, and then I was obviously encouraged by the board to do the same as well, to empower the management staff that will be reporting to me with this necessary power-making decisions so that I, in turn, can be able to hold them to account. So the board used to appoint the coach, which is the team director in this new structure. That will no longer happen. The director of cricket will do that. The board used to appoint the convener of selectors together with the selection team. The director of cricket will do that. And the board used to appoint the team manager, so the administrative manager of the team will be appointed by the director of cricket. So essentially you can imagine the amount of work that had to go into the presentations that we've had to give to the board over the past 2 weeks, and for the board to finally agree to the presentation that management put on the table, and to essentially agree to letting go of all this power and give it to management. And that's just to be able to hold management to account should we get to a point where the board is not as satisfied as they currently are with the performances of the team?
We are well advanced in terms of the coaching staff. There are certain members of the coaching staff which is in that press release has also been the technical support staff that has been retained. We have agreed that with them. We had one-on-one interviews with them over the last 2 days. So, a big number of the staff is already there, and we are obviously now more working on the coaching staff that will be doing the India tour on a temporary basis.
I basically went to the board. I first spoke with Otis, and I said to Otis, I would like to suggest that the board have a look at your contract and with a possible extension. And then Otis responded by saying that he would more or less look at being employed until probably 2021, and that's what I should suggest to the board rather. I did suggest that to the board. The board deliberated on that, and part of the board agreeing, or what the board essentially said to me, let me rather quote what was said to me verbatim, was, we are agreeing that you can go ahead as CEO and extend the coach's contract subject to him agreeing to key specific pointers in his contract changing. Part of that being EPG, part of that being communication, part of that being performance. We went back to the coach together with the now acting director of cricket and communicated such to the coach, of which he said he could not immediately agree until he saw what his contract looked like. Now, that meeting is essentially the same meeting where this policy was of selection was spoken of. And obviously, it is well documented now in the media that the coach was not really happy about the board rather wanting to now activate this policy. And in fact, this policy was in place for 3 days. So it's not later on in the year. It's literally 3 days. The 1st of February meeting, I think, was on a Friday evening. And on a Monday evening, the president called me and said, listen, Thabang, I've had a chat with a few guys as far as the team's concerned, and we're thinking of putting this policy on ice. Would you mind if we did that? And I said, no, there's absolutely no reason why I would mind in the board putting this policy on ice, because the perception that was already put out there was that the board, together with the CEO, is intending on interfering on selection, which wasn't true. So to dispel such notions or rumors, we just simply put the policy on ice. So similarly, with Otis not agreeing, that's one of the decisions, again, that emanated from that meeting that caused the board to then say, listen, because the coach is not agreeable to a few things that you're already saying, let's rather put his contract on ice as well and judge him the same way that we said we would from the first on, which is on his performances at the World Cup.
We're also looking forward to 2023. We need a strategy to 2023. So in terms of appointing the captain, we will look at how we approach that. But we are having a selection meeting in the next day and a half to confirm that. But to answer your question, is Faf going to be the captain? Faf will be the captain of the test team, and then we will talk about the white ball cricket strategy to 2023 and how that affects decision making.
What can you say besides that he's a legend? He's a living legend, and he's going to be sorely missed as far as the test arena is concerned, but has taken a pretty wise and bold decision at that in trying to prolong his career at international level. We fully support him as management of Cricket South Africa. Obviously, one can say that the news to me came as a surprise. I thought maybe he might want to wait a little bit longer, play the test series against England, where essentially he started his career against from an opposition point of view. But he had talks with our acting director of cricket, and he felt now is the time, and he had his own plans in terms of how he wants to prolong his career. He was supported by the director of cricket and is now therefore supported by the entire organization. So he will be sorely missed, but we will still see him in other formats, and we hope that we can preserve him as much as we've managed to preserve Imran Tahir. So if he can last until 40 and still bowl at 140 an hour, I'll be more than happy.